What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cold Takes from the Land.
Cold Takes from the Land, where you get the coldest takes from the hottest Cleveland sports fans.
And we're back. Better than ever, bitches. Time to talk about the Guardians,
Guess
buddy.
who's back? Back again. Shady's back.
Tell a friend. But yeah.
Yeah, Houdini.
Houdini.
We went Houdini on everybody, so sorry about that.
From my
It's
last
been
trick.
quite a while. How long has it been? And from my last trick.
Like 4 months, 5 months, something like that.
Yeah, we've been promising a Guardians video for the last, I think, half year. We're finally here to deliver one, so.
Yeah, we had to fight
We're
crime.
going to get into this bit.
We saved the world, and
Yeah.
now we're back. So.
Yeah, we were in Gotham City for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
So we're finally going to get a Guardians update out almost freaking, what are we, 2/3 of the way through the season, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we're going to get into today. We're just going to do kind of like a general overlay of like what's happened so far this season, where we think things are going to head, and kind of just talk about what's gone on so far.
And it's been a something so far. I can definitely say it's been the season I don't think either of us expected.
No, yeah, I expected us to be good. I didn't expect us to be this good. But with that being said, we've also struggled mightily the last 3-4 weeks, I'd say.
Lost 7 out of our last 8 games, I believe.
Yeah, and 2 out of the 3 so far against the Twins already, which is not good because as of yesterday, they were only a game and a half back. So we have a 2.5 game lead now, but we really need to win today and try to get some distance again because our next 3 weeks are brutal. I think we play the Yankees in a 3-game series on the road, I believe. So I think we're in New York for that. And then I think we also play Milwaukee, the Brewers, who are pretty damn good National League team. So it's going to be rough.
They're out there brewing.
Yeah, they're out there brewing. We need to start brewing again, man. Freaking the only player that's been consistent recently has been Jose Ramirez.
As is the case most of the time. He's our most consistent player. But from, an offensive standpoint, I feel like for like a good chunk of the first bit of the season, like offense was so easy to come by for us, and we were able to kind of outplay our pitching in a way because our pitching has been so up and down, especially with the loss of Shane Bieber right at the beginning of the year and McKenzie being horrendous and all that yummy stuff. But
yeah,
in these games where we struggle to get on base and get consistent hits, like, my God, the pitching struggles really are a detriment. I think that's been our main issue recently.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree. And I know we made a couple moves. We traded for Matthew Boyd. I think we got him from, I want to say the Tigers for like next to nothing. I think we gave them cash considerations, whatever the hell that is. We gave him $10 for this guy.
Yeah.
And then we just recently, before the deadline, traded for Alex Cobb, who started the other day. Looked pretty good. He gave up 2 runs in the first few innings that weren't really his fault. I know Josh Naylor had a bad error, and then Hedges, my fucking arch nemesis, guy's got the same name as me, but I want nothing to do with him. Fucking made a terrible error, threw the ball to second when a guy was coming home and allowed to run. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that, man. I mean, our hitting has been consistent most of the year, but the pitching's not been there. And man, if we could just have one guy, like Shane Bieber would have been the guy to have on this team with Jose Ramirez. Like, if you had to pick 2 guys to not get hurt, it would probably be Ramirez and Shane Bieber.
Yeah, the Bieber loss really sucks because in what he pitched 2 games and was amazing in both
Pitched
of them.
3. He was 3-0. He had a 0 ERA. He didn't give up a single run.
So basically, he's the greatest pitcher of all time. And he got hurt.
I know I think did he win 2? I think he won 2 Cy Youngs. If not 2, I know he's won at least 1 and almost won 2. But I mean, it's hard to tell from 3 starts and only a couple weeks of the season, but he was well on his way to another Cy Young year.
Yeah, if I got his stats pulled up. So he did pitch 2 games, was 2-0 in those games with a 0 ERA and 20 strikeouts in 2 games.
Yeah, 20. So double-digit strikeouts both games is crazy. That's an average of 10 strikeouts a game.
Now, I feel like when he initially went down, obviously it sucks, but I feel like we had higher regards for guys like Bibee and Tristan McKenzie at the top of our order.
And we still do for Bibee, not so much McKenzie.
Yeah, I know Bibee's been better recently. Didn't he have a pretty rough start, if I can remember correctly?
Yeah, he's had some weird games. He seems to pitch down to like the teams we're playing. So like I remember early in the year he struggled against the Angels when Mike Trout got hurt and Ohtani was gone. So it's like he struggles with teams that have nobody, but he seems to pitch well against teams that have like a decent lineup.
Right. Yeah, I mean, looking at his numbers, like he's pitched the most innings for us. His ERA is a 3.48. He averages about 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. Is a record of 9-4. So he's been, when you look at the numbers, it's pretty solid. And then obviously I know Ben Lively. I didn't know a thing about this guy going into the year, but he's been, for a lot of the season, you could argue he was our best pitcher for a little while. He's been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean he's probably been our most consistent one, I'd say. But you're right. Yeah, I didn't know anything about Ben Lively coming into the year either. That's the beauty of baseball, my friend. Though there's guys that'll pop up randomly that end up being the savior of your team that you've never heard of in your life. It's not like the NFL or something where you're like, oh, I know who this is. I know where he's been, what he's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
this
crazy.
Guy came out of nowhere basically at 32 and just has been a stud for us.
Yeah, it's nuts because I'm looking at him and he's 32 years old. He's been in the league since 2017, at least in the big league since 2017, and all the years he got extensive pitching, it was been not very good. And then he just comes in this year and he's been pitching pretty well. I don't know if it's that veteran experience and the lack of expectation that's kind of helping him out a little bit there, but I'll definitely take it. It just,
Yeah, it's, I mean, I'm assuming it's a little bit of both, too, because with Shane going down, he really was the veteran on this pitching staff, and with Lively being up there, I know this Alex Cobb is like 37. He's like Carlos Carrasco's age, so there's another veteran that can hopefully give you some leadership and guidance in that clubhouse, because pitching has been just up and down all year. I think they're really hoping that either both of these new guys, Cobb and this Boyd guy, work out, or maybe that they're kind of weighing their options between Boyd and seeing if McKenzie. I know he had a good start in AAA the last 2 times he's been out there, so either they're hoping he's going to kind of snap back to form or Boyd's going to work out, because I think the lineup will end up being Lively, Bybee, Gavin, Cobb, and then either Boyd or McKenzie probably.
Right. Yeah, because when you look at, the guys we were just talking about mostly were the top 2 in innings pitched. When you look at 3, 4, and 5, it's Carrasco, Logan Allen, and McKenzie, and all you have to do is look at their numbers, and it's just not good.
Yeah, all 3 have been bad, and I know Carrasco, they just placed him on like a 2-week injured list, I think. I think that was one of those similar to the NFL things where it's like, you're injured, and he's like, no, I'm not. It's like, well, you're injured, buddy. You know what I mean? You're putting out something. He's not really hurt, but I just think they're like trying to get rid of him, like, and kind of get him off the pitching staff for a little while.
Yeah, I remember growing up, everyone loved Cookie. My dad was a big fan of him, but he's just old and way out of his prime, and is just I personally say he's been our worst pitcher this year. I know Logan Allen's been pretty atrocious too, but at least he's won some games, even if they weren't really of his doing. Whereas Carrasco's 3-10.
Yeah.
And he's got the worst ERA of any of these guys by far. At least that's got extensive pitching.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, they've all been so bad. McKenzie was awful. He gave up home runs like nobody I've ever seen. But I think, it's either Carrasco or Logan Allen. I'd probably say Logan Allen's the worst, but he would get lucky and he would get like 7 runs scored for him every single time he plays, so his record doesn't look nearly as bad.
Yeah, he's 8-4, which is kind of wild because his pitching has been atrocious.
Oh yeah, it's like a thing whenever he pitches that we score 8 runs.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe just pitch him all the time and we'll win every game 12-8 and call it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that'd be something, wouldn't it?
I will say though, our bullpen has been pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah. It's been historically good. I was going to say that. I think they were saying the other day it's one of the best bullpens in the last 25 years. We have 4 guys really class A's, pretty much unhittable. He's got like a 1-point-something ERA.
Best closer in baseball.
I know. Yep, by far, I think, right now. Then you got Gaddis, Cade Smith, who really came on, is a rookie. I think they consider Gaddis a rookie, which I don't really understand because he pitched last year. So, I don't know if you have to have a certain amount of games played.
Yeah, didn't he, before this year, wasn't he a starting pitcher?
Yeah, he was a starting pitcher last year, I think, for us for a little bit.
Yeah,
but he must have not been up here for long enough. Maybe you have to be up here for a consecutive amount of days before they consider you like a second-year player.
Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, like I know, experience means a lot, but like when you look at Gaddis, like his numbers last year, like he started 7 games, had a 4.50 ERA, was 2-1. Yeah, his numbers were pretty but then he comes in and now he's a reliever and he's just fucking pitching the lights out. I don't know, like, is it something in certain guys that just it suits him better to be a reliever? I know he throws pretty hard, so do you think because of the smaller sample size you have to pitch as a reliever, you think maybe he can let it loose a little more or something like that and that makes him more effective? That's stuff that I'm still figuring out.
Yeah, I would say that it's a little bit of that. I know a lot of like older pitchers, like back when Tim Lincecum was really good, he was winning Cy Youngs, and like as you get older they sometimes move you to the bullpen. But with him, I think it was just pretty much exactly what you said. I think he can kind of let it rip a little bit more, kind of put everything into his pitches rather than trying to skate by and survive for 6 innings or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because him and then this kid Cade Smith have probably been our 2 best relievers. That isn't Clase, of course. And yeah, I didn't know a whole lot about Cade Smith either. He's a young guy. He's only 25. He's huge. He's like 6'5". And he fucking rips it too, man. His ERA's a 209. Like he's been killing it too. So like if we could just get some damn support from these starters, like I think we'd be doing all right in the pitching department, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I mean, he's a stud. That's what Vogue kind of did last night. He used our best 3 relievers because we won 2-1. So once we got out of the 6th inning, Gavin pitched actually really well last night. Only gave up the 1 run on like 4 hits, I think. And then we used Cade Smith into Hunter Gaddis, into Clase, which is what we should be doing because those are your 3 best guys.
Right. Yeah, it's just...
And Herron's been pretty damn good, too. I think Tim Herron's got like around a 2 ERA, so anything
1.9.
close to 2 is outstanding. Yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, 1.9. Yeah, he's been pretty damn good, too. I know Scott Barlow hasn't been great, and then Sandlin isn't great either, but, I mean, at least we got the guys towards the top end of our relievers in the roster who've been playing pretty well. And then I know, what's his name? Sam Hedges. Yeah, he's got, a 3.04 ERA. So it's kind of but
Yeah, he just gives you a little left-handed versatility. Him and Herron are left-handers, so that kind of gives you a little something different out of the bullpen.
Yeah. I got a question. What the fuck happened to Karinchak?
I don't know what happened to him, honestly. I don't even know where he is. Is he in Columbus right now? Do you have the stats or anything in front of you?
I'm double checking right now. I know he's had like injury issues and stuff recently, but like a few years ago he was like real good, and then he just like disappeared.
Yeah, I think he might have been like a locker room problem too. Like I know he was kind of a weirdo.
Yeah, he's on the 60-day injured list.
It's like, okay, yeah, I know a couple seasons ago they caught him. He had like some kind of substance on his hands, so he got like fined for that, like because he was cheating.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah, so I think they don't want to kill locker room morale by bringing somebody like that back up. You know what I mean?
I get you. But yeah, I mean, if it seems like we just need some damn support from our starters. It's just very unfortunate that we've just been getting killed with injuries and pitching because obviously fucking Bieber's out. McKenzie's had his issues that like his elbow could be the reason that he's been struggling so bad. And then I know we had that one prospect who a couple years ago was really highly touted when he was in Akron, and he's been hurt for like 2 seasons in a row. I can't remember his name. It's like Espino or something like that.
Yeah, Daniel Espino. Yeah, he was supposed to be really good. He's been hurt constantly.
Yeah, he's been out for 2 full seasons, and he's out for this full season. It's like, well, man, maybe if he never gets hurt, maybe he's on the rotation at this point in time. Who knows? So just very unlucky in the starting pitching department, it seems.
Oh, for sure. I mean, with that being said, too, it's crazy that we're still 68-49 with a chance to still win this division. I mean, we're still in the driver's seat if we can just capitalize and skate home.
Yeah, I think that just speaks to how good our offense has been, even with some of the recent struggles this year. And I was going to kind of pivot to that because we haven't talked a whole lot about our performance offensively. Because goddamn, it's been a nice surprise the amount of runs we've been able to score this year, especially when you look at the last couple seasons.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's crazy, man. Jose is absolutely killing it again. He's got the 30 home runs, 96 RBIs. He's pulling his batting average up too. I think he's hitting. What does it say here? He's hitting 279, so basically 280. I mean, he was hitting around 260 for a while, so to pull it up 20 points in the last couple weeks has been outstanding. Yeah, he's been our best player for as long as I can remember, unless you want to make the argument for Clase, but no.
and I know Naylor had a kind of up and down start to the year, but his average is even up to almost 250 now, and he's got 26 home runs on his own and 85 RBIs. So
yeah,
he's been
that's
killing
been
it.
the big thing, having a guy behind Jose that can produce like that. Because last year, I think Jose finished with like 20 home runs and only 80 RBIs, so he picked it way up. And then having Josh Naylor just go nuclear.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely times where he struggled and swings at terrible pitches, but 26 home runs thus far, and he's going to hit 100 RBIs again. So having 200 RBI guys, we haven't had that since, I want to say, probably 2017, honestly, when we had like Encarnacion and all those guys on the team, when we had that 22-game win streak.
Yeah,
So having 200 RBI guys is big. David Fry has been clutch. Stephen Kwan just hit his 12th home run last night, which is crazy for a guy like that.
Yeah, he's been
Still hitting
yeah.
326.
Yeah, and he's cooled down a lot recently, and he's still, like you said, hitting 326. And you mentioned David Fry.
Yep.
That dude's been like the shock of the year.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I hope he can kind of like even out again, because he was struggling the last month or so. And so same with Stephen Kwan. I think he's been a big reason why we've been struggling. He hasn't really been getting on base as much, and when Stephen Kwan's not getting runs, we're not going to be scoring nearly as much.
Yeah, and I think that brings us to the few problems we have offensively. Is I feel like some of the lineup decisions and the send downs and call ups we've had have been really odd. Like we had Manzardo around. He was the DH. He had a rough like first couple weeks, but then after that he was batting real well. He was batting, he was like a double machine. And then we send him down.
Yeah, he had 10 doubles in like a month.
Yeah, and then we send him down, and like we're kind of at a point right now where like, yeah, we're still scoring, but we kind of need a little bit more pop. And I think Manzardo gave us that, and he's just been sitting in AAA killing it. Meanwhile, we got guys like fucking.
Yeah, I know.
Like Schneeman's been horrendous the last month. We have, then you have you guys like Rocchio, who's been atrocious.
Hedges
is atrocious.
Been terrible.
Freeman's batting 215.
Awful.
Yeah,
it
ain't it, Chief.
Yeah, we have about 4 guys. Yeah, it's not good, man. We have like 4 guys that are just absolutely sucking ass right now. I mean, Hedges, I don't understand how Hedges has a fucking spot on this roster. And I know I'm one of the few guys that absolutely hates this guy, but I'm like, because he seems to be a good clubhouse guy, which is great and all, but it's like vibes can only get you so far when you're hitting fucking, what is he batting here? Do you have his average in front of you? He's hitting 146, which is absolute. I mean, fucking Estevan Florial, who got called down 5 months ago, is hitting 173. Like, shit.
Literally.
I don't get it, man. I mean, Manzardo, that has to be a move you'd think that they'd make soon to call him back up, because those 4 guys, I mean, I think they're playing again today. I think we're playing Freeman, Rocchio, and then somebody. I think Schneeman's playing again today. So it's like 1/3 of your lineup is fucking guaranteed outs. Like, it's just, I don't understand what they're doing. Get Manzardo up here, call down somebody. I'd give either George Valera from Columbus. He's a good outfielder, a try. He's got some pop. Or maybe call up one of these other infield. We have like a billion middle infield prospects. Maybe have Rocchio duke it out with one of those guys, because he's clearly not the main option at shortstop right now. And Schneeman's got to be, I think, maybe the first guy to go, because at least Hedges plays good defense. But
yeah, Schneeman had a hot start, but yeah, he just has not been.
Yeah, and he's never been. He hasn't really made any great defensive plays while he's been here. He's made a few stupid errors. I mean, his bat was really good to start for the first few weeks, and then once the league kind of adjusted to him, he's been struggling mightily.
Right. Now.
And they called our boy down. Angel Martinez is down now, which made no sense. Like, how do you call him down, but freaking have Freeman and Rocchio and Hedges and these bums still on your roster?
Right. Do you think that's just something where you can attribute it to just first-year manager, kind of going through the motions of just day-to-day transactions with the team and maybe making some mistakes that you don't think he'll make with more experience as our manager?
I don't know. I hope so. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure. I've never seen a manager make this many moves in such rapid order like over the last few months. It seems like he's just calling guys up, sending them down. I mean, how many times did we have freaking Xavier Curry called up and sent down? Like 3, I think.
Yeah, he's been up and down
it's just
a lot.
like, like, how do you expect any of these guys to get any sort of consistency? Like Manzardo, who had 10 doubles in a month, which is really good. Like, how do you expect them to be consistent when you're sending them up and shipping them back down?
Yeah, he was also like randomly in and out of the lineup like sometimes too. I noticed like so it's hard to get him get a groove going as a first time guy in the big leagues. And he's one day he's in the lineup, one day he's out of it, one day he's in, one day he's out. So it's just a weird thing.
Yeah, and now with Josh struggling, he's struggled mightily at first base this year defensively. He's got 8 errors already. They were kind of talking about it last night on the radio about how bad he's been defensively. I mean, I think you have to, like, now's the perfect time. Call him up, give him a shot at first base.
Yeah, and
have Naylor the DH. Yeah, because he's been hurt anyway. He missed, 4 games a couple weeks ago because he's been banged up. So give him the DH spot. Don't let him out there in the field. I mean, he's been struggling. Maybe it's because he's hurt. So maybe put him in the DH spot and just let him hit.
No, I definitely agree. One little curveball I was thinking about is obviously we just drafted the Travis Bazzana kid first overall, and I don't know a whole lot about how this works. What do you think is the likeliness we could see him around October if he just goes in and absolutely kills it in Double-A and Triple-A?
I mean, it's a possibility for sure. I mean, it's not something you see very often at all in Major League Baseball, but with him being the #1 pick and then us having a guy like Rocchio who can barely get the ball out of the fucking infield half the time. Like, I think it's definitely a possibility if you have a 6 through 9 that's going to continue to struggle like this.
Right. I was just curious.
Because he's got to give you something. I mean, you can't continue to waste Jose's prime, you know what I mean? Like, we've gone through this with the Browns and a lot of other teams that we root for, where it's like, okay, we have one great player and we're kind of wasting his prime, i.e. Joe Thomas. We wasted his entire career.
We're wasted a decade of that guy.
Giving him some prime. Yeah, I mean, at least Jose has been to a World Series, won some playoff series, but it's getting to the point now where it's like you got to make some decisions and help this team out.
Right. Now, when with all that being said, obviously trade deadline is done and over with. So what do we feel obviously it's a bit of a bad taste right now just because we've struggled so much recently, but in theory we can get things back on track. The pitching can just be good enough to keep us going, and the offense can stay consistent. Maybe we make a couple moves, maybe we call up Manzardo like you said. When you look at the rest of the American League and then obviously potential for World Series, we still have one of the better records in the league despite our struggles. So what are your overall feelings in terms of how we stack up against teams in the got like the Orioles, the Yankees, the Twins, the Royals, some of those top teams in the American League, and then of course the National League, you got the Phillies, Dodgers, Brewers, Padres, Diamondbacks. Those are all the top teams that we could possibly see in a World Series if we could make it there.
I think we match up pretty well, honestly, man. I mean, it's been one of those weird seasons where we play better against the good teams than we do the bad teams. I touched on the game that we played against the Angels with no Mike Trout. Obviously, Ohtani got shipped out in the offseason, and we got absolutely blasted, I think like 8-1.
Right.
But we'll beat the Orioles. We've taken the season series with the Orioles. Yankees, we've only played once thus far, I believe, and we took 1 out of 3, but we have a chance to rectify that here in a week or so. I think we match up pretty well against a lot of these teams, and a lot of people are freaking out too and forgetting the fact that definitely 2 teams from our division are going to make the playoffs if we keep up this pace. So even if Minnesota somehow takes the division, which I don't want them to, we're still, barring if we hit like 85, 90 wins, we're going to make the playoffs still.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I was just curious how you felt about that. Obviously, I'm optimistic because we've seen that this when everything's clicking and we're getting guys on base and doing it consistently, and when we have the right lineups, we can really score. I think it's
interesting, man, because there's not really a world beater this year. I mean, there's some good teams, but the Yankees don't terrify me. I mean, the Yankees are very much a 2-man team in Judge and Soto. Where it's like, if either one of those guys are struggling, which they haven't much this year, they've been outstanding, both of them. But if either of those guys are not hitting, their lineup is not nearly as deep as ours is, even though we have some holes.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. So I feel like, it kind of seems like it just comes down to how consistent can the pitching be, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, let's hope that Alex Cobb works out because he hasn't pitched this season, so maybe that'll be... Besides the other day, maybe it'll be a good thing to where it's like people haven't seen him in a while, so they need to adjust to him. And hopefully this other guy, this Matthew Boyd, either him or McKenzie works out, because we're going to need some more production out of that 4 and 5 spot, I think, to really win this year. And hopefully we can get a win here in about a half hour at the game. Go back up 3.5 games. That'd be huge.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, by the time this video gets up, we'll definitely be at the very least playing, or maybe even having finished our game today against the Twins. So hopefully we get a dub there. But with that being said,
yes, sir.
Before we skedaddle, we should give our cold takes, as we should call it. What's your cold take? What's the Guardians' record going to be at the end of the year, and how does our season finish?
That's a good question, my friend. Let me see here. Let me see how many games we have left here. What have we played? 117. So we got let's see, 162. So we got 45 games left. I'm gonna say we'll go 25 and 20 over the last 45. So 25 plus the 68 wins we have would be 93 wins. So I'm going to say we're going to go 93 and 69. And I think that should be good enough to win the division by maybe 2-3 games.
Okay. And how do you think, if you had to ballpark it right now, how are we finishing in the playoffs?
That's a tough one. I think we can make a run at it, honestly, man. I don't think we're going to make the World Series this year. I think maybe next year, depending, but who knows if Josh Naylor is going to be here next year, because you only have him signed through this year. Mm-hmm. But I think we'll at least get out of the first round, kind of like we did 2 years ago. When we played the Rays in that 3-game series and beat them.
Yeah. Then we played the Yanks.
I think best case scenario is we get to the ALCS and then probably lose to a team like Baltimore, or I hate to say it, maybe even the fucking Twins. Like the Yankees could beat us if they get hot because their pitching is very good, but the Twins have a lot of young guys that are coming on hot, and Baltimore scares me. So I'm going to say best case scenario is ALCS appearance, but you never know. I mean, baseball's a weird sport. I didn't think the 4 games over 500 Arizona Diamondbacks were going to make a run to the World Series last season, and they did. So
yeah, I like it. And
it's a lot of parity in baseball.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is definitely true. I'm gonna say the Guards finish at 96 and 66, and we God damn it, I'm gonna say it. We're winning the World Series off a game against the Dodgers, off a Game 7 walk-off from fucking David Fry.
Carlos Carrasco.
Hey guys, really quick, just popping in for whatever reason on this video and the Browns video that'll be coming out after this one. Whenever I finished recording it, when we did our stuff, it cut off like the last minute of the Guards video and the last like 2 minutes of the Browns video, so that's why it seems like it cuts off weirdly. So, whoops, our bad. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But yeah, thanks for watching or listening to the podcast. Sorry for the really weird outro. Cold takes from the lake.